it's Cara and I'm back with your Friday Art Escape. So that means it is Friday, everyone. I hope you're looking forward to the weekend. And it's 5 o'clock here. I don't know what time it is where you are, but yeah, I hope you have a good one. So today I am working in my Dina Wakley ledger journal. I haven't had this one out for a little while, so I thought I'd crack it out because I wanted to keep some white space in the background of this page, or this is quite a sort of manila colour, and I thought it'd be great to have that text in the background that the ledger pages have. So firstly, what I did was I grabbed out my image from Collage Soup and I looked at the colours in that image and I wanted to reflect those colours and build on them. So I grabbed out my Dina Wakley paints and I use turquoise, bodacious, blackberry, fuchsia, stoked and ocean on this background. I do also add a little bit of white to tone down some of that blackberry, which you'll see later. So all I'm doing for the first few colours is putting a little bit of that paint into my palette and rolling it on with a brayer. I love the kind of haphazard look that this gives me. It's not perfect, it's rough and ready, it's patchy, and that's really what I wanted. I wanted it to look organic. Then taking from the dots in the girls' pink, I don't really know what they are, horns, headdresses, but anyway, I loved it and I love circles. So taking from that, I grabbed out every single circle stencil that I had and popped them at the top of my table and just thought I would see what grabs me when I'm ready. So in the blackberry there, I've got a just a cheap circle stencil. This one I'm using now with the fuchsia is a Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous. I will put the codes in the description box for you guys. I know you like to know what exact stencils are being used. The first stencil that I used with, I think it was Stoked, was the Crafters Workshop stencil, and again I will pop that in the description. This one I'm using for the white is actually a stencil I've cut down. This is a paper artsy stencil with Tracy Scott as the designer. Again, I'll pop the links, the codes below in the description box if you fancy having a look, but this has normally got more on it. This is only half the stencil what you see me using. So once I'm happy with my stenciling, I stencil in sort of 3 places across my page. I did add a little bit more stenciling of those little dots, but I keep it to odd numbers, and I do keep them overlapping the stenciling that's already there, so it doesn't look like it's just a random bit of stenciling floating in air. What I've decided to do is add some splatter. I do love a bit of splatter, so I grab out my neon pink Posca paint pen first. Activate that onto my craft mat, or my table protection as it were, and splatter that all over my page. And then I do the same with a Staedtler blue Staedtler blue paint marker, and again with the white Posca in a second. Here I am. Actually, that's the Staedtler as well. But I mean, they're just acrylic paint pens, so you can do it with any paint pen you have. You can even do this with watered down paint, which I quite often do. It's just that I had my paint pens sitting there to the right of me, so I grabbed them. Now I'm going to add a little bit of stamping in my background to give it that bit more interest, and I'm trying to stick with that circle theme. So I've just got some background builder stamps here. These are like squiggled circles, like drawn but with layers. I just add those again, overlapping the stenciling with the stamping, and keeping to my areas. Then I've added a Tracy Scott stamp, which is a paper artsy. It looks like if you were to pop a straw into paint, it's like loads of circles like that. They're imperfect as well, which I love. They're not all like perfect circles. So you could create that using a straw in your paint as well. And then I also add some dots just because as I said, I love circles, I love dots, so grab a few dots and add them in a few places, which is what I'm doing right this second as I'm talking to you about it. So yeah, they're my dots. And then I add a tiny little bit of script just to help tie in that script in the background. As you can see, throughout my page, I keep popping my focal point onto the page. I wanted to make sure that some of that lovely background I'm creating pokes through the holes where the women's necks sort of don't join up, if that makes sense. I didn't want that to just look like a plain bit, otherwise it does look like I haven't added things to the entire background, which obviously I have. I just use a glue stick to put this on because my page is dry now. I've dried it in between with my hairdryer, so it's very dry, so I can stick that on with a glue stick. I do print my images from Collage Soup, which is where this one comes from. So I get the ebooks and print them out as and when I need them. So to make my image pop out from my page, I'm just using a Stabilo All pencil, which I then activate with water and try and make it a little bit more watery by adding some extra water and then dabbing off some of that excess water so that it's dark but not too dark. I just want that to be quite nice. What I really, really want is to just make my image stand out from all those colours in the background really nicely. So there I'm dabbing off some of the excess because I'm adding quite a lot of water to kind of make it a smooth line rather than a very sharp one. So yeah, that just makes that image pop out from that page quite nicely. And also having the black outline ties in with the black stamping that I did on the page. And obviously the girls are wearing these like amazing goggles, which are quite black as well. So I just wanted some extra black onto that page because I decided I'm not going to add a quote to this. I honestly don't know what would fit at the moment, so I just leave it as it is. I do add a partial border and again activate that with water, making like a smudgy black line, which I really, really love. Anyway, guys, as I'm coming to the end of the video, I hope you've liked it this week. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel so that you get updates every time I post. I do post every Friday at 5 p.m. It is Western time, therefore you need to check what time it is wherever you are. But for now, here's a few close-ups of all that detail on the page, and I'll leave you with a couple of images and just now to say have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.